Good afternoon and welcome to Let's Chat with Dr. Celeste, MD. I'm your host, Dr. Celeste Reese-Willis. I'm your board-certified family medicine physician specializing in urgent care. I help busy professionals to find solutions for both their acute and chronic medical needs. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry we're logging on just a little bit late. We were in a virtual conference. Medical conference earlier today, and it's a virtual conference, so no, we're not violating any social distancing, but sharpening our tools, medically speaking. And so with that, ladies and gentlemen, so that's why we're logging on just a little bit late today, so sorry about that. Hi, DeBoris, thank you for joining. Hey, Donna, thank you so much for joining. So today what I thought would be an important thing to kind of go over and review, something that we've kind of never talked about before, and that has to do with kind of talking about specifically some of the symptoms that people have with COVID-19, and specifically where you can see that in different organ processes in your body. So I'm just going to jump right into it. We also are going to highlight a patient asked me earlier this week, okay, Dr. Celeste, so why is it that so many people are getting pneumonia? Why are they getting pneumonia? Why is it so severe? So I thought that we break down that process a little bit to just kind of explain what happens. So let's talk about some of the symptoms. We've heard about the three main symptoms of COVID-19. And again, we're talking about the novel coronavirus, which was first diagnosed, official diagnosis was January 7th in Wuhan, China, surrounding a seafood market wherein they sold both live, dead animals as well as animal parts. And it's theorized that this is a virus that could have transferred, they're thinking, from bats into humans. The coronaviruses are a group of viruses that have been around for years, but what is making this virus so different and why they're calling it the novel coronavirus is because this is a virus that is new to humans and not a virus that we've seen before. So that's why they call it the novel coronavirus. Three main symptoms that we've known that people have are fever, cough, shortness of breath, okay? So we know about those. Let's talk about this loss of taste or loss of sense of smell. Now, that's a symptom that some people will have with the virus. They suspect that part of the reason that you're having that loss of taste or smell is that when the virus attacks in your respiratory passageway in the back of your nose, that it could attack nerve endings and damaging those cells, therefore causing you to have the loss of taste or loss of sense of smell. One question I know a lot of people have asked me, and a lot of patients ask, Dr. Celeste, am I going to get this back? Am I going to get my loss of taste and smell back? And most patients do. It just may take a little while before you get it back. Let's talk about your eyes. So there's a subset of patients, and about 3% of patients we're seeing that have presentation with conjunctivitis or like a pink eye. Most of the patients that present with this particular symptom, though, typically are in the sickest patients. We've seen it in patients that have not been severely ill, but most of the time this is a rare symptom that occurs in some people that are severely ill with COVID-19. We're seeing GI symptoms as well, including nausea and diarrhea, loss of appetite, loss of indigestion. We'll explain in just a moment why it is that people are having those symptoms. It has to do with certain receptors that are located that the virus kind of attaches to, but those receptors are located in your GI tract and even in your lungs. Let's talk about the liver. Half of patients that are positive with COVID-19 in the hospital are experiencing some change and differences in their liver functions. So why do we have that? Well, we suspect it's because the immune system is in overdrive as you're trying to fight off COVID-19, and it's affecting your liver function. In addition to that, some of the drugs that we're using to treat COVID-19 can cause a shift in your liver function. And so in that particular situation, physicians, of course, will monitor, risk versus benefit ratio. But we are seeing a little bit of a difference in liver function tests. We don't know for sure specifically what's causing it. Again, there's a lot about COVID-19, the virus, that we don't know, but we suspect that that's the reason why you're seeing a shift in the liver function. In addition to that, your kidneys. The virus may attack your kidneys directly. It may be secondary to the drop in blood pressure that occurs. Sometimes in patients that are sick with COVID, they get into what's called sepsis, which is infection in your bloodstream. And sometimes that infectious state can cause you to have a drop in your blood pressure. When that drop in your blood pressure occurs, it can affect your kidney function. So we're seeing a little bit of a shift there as well. With that shift in the kidney function, some patients are even needing to have dialysis. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, I'm speaking about the people that are the sickest that have COVID-19, and most of these patients are hospitalized, just explaining some of the symptoms that a lot of the hospitalized patients have been dealing with. And so one of the things that is plaguing some hospitals is that if you're at a hospital or in a community wherein you have a lot of people that need dialysis, a lot of people need dialysis for kidney failure secondary to high blood pressure, secondary to diabetes in some people, secondary to a lot of different kinds of infections. And so you have a subset of people that need the dialysis, but now you're seeing a large growing number of that need because of the effect of the COVID-19 on the kidney function. So that's why we're seeing some patients that have that challenge. In addition to that, we're seeing patients that have suffered with strokes, seizures, confusions, and that occurs just because of inflammation in the brain that may be occurring as a result of COVID-19. Again, a lot of this is things that we are looking at patients, physicians are looking at patients, and they're definitely research teams. I know that here in Birmingham, the UAB is doing a tremendous amount of research in terms of looking at COVID patients, their treatment regimens. And again, there's not a formalized treatment plan from the FDA for particular medicines for someone having COVID, but we are following kind of an anecdotal type treatment based on identifying that particular patient and determining what it is they need or what they don't need. So we've gone over some of the symptoms. So let's talk about the virus itself. And what I did is, for those of you who don't know, some people do, some people don't, and I hope that you can see this, what the coronavirus actually looks like. And I'm hoping you can see this from my other phone. Do you guys see that? Okay, so what it looks like is it's a virus that has a lot of little spikes on it that allow it to kind of attach to your cells. The point of entry for the virus is your eyes, your nose, or your mouth. That's part of the reason why you've heard us say time and time again to avoid touching your eyes, your nose, or your mouth. Simply because those are the entry points, and you want to make sure you wash your hands before you touch these areas. If you have to, like scratch your eye, something in your eye, or scratch your nose, or anything like that, we're recommending that you wash your hands prior to that for that particular reason. So the virus enters into, it gets in at one of these entry points, and it attaches itself to one of your healthy cells. It is an RNA virus, so it actually enters into your healthy cell and makes copies or replicates itself to invade your body. So it's a little spiky surface protein like what I showed you before. It attaches to what's called an ACE2 receptor, and that's a big scientific term, but the only thing I want you guys to remember from that is it attaches to this receptor and it travels, causing havoc throughout your body. So once your immune system realizes, hey, it's a virus that's here, they send what we call your frontline white blood cells to kind of attack anything that's in your body that shouldn't be there, or trying to shut down an infection, basically. It also releases chemicals that cause for more white blood cells to come to wherever that place is in your body to try and kill off that virus. Well, in the process of your immune system warring against this virus, you actually have ACE2 receptors, that same receptor that it attaches to. Those receptors are found in your nose, right, on the surface of your cells there, but those receptors are also found in increasing amounts in the lower air passageways as well as in your GI system. So that's one of the reasons why we suspect that people are having GI symptoms, is that the virus may be attacking the cells, those cells at that particular point, therefore creating some GI symptoms in you. In addition to that, you have a lot of receptors in the lower respiratory tract. So virus enters here, gets to the lower respiratory tract, where it kind of has a party, so to speak, or tries to have a party with the increasing amount of receptors in your lower air passageway, right? So you got a war that's going on in between your immune system and this bad virus, right? So that's one of the reasons why we talk so much, and I encourage you guys so much to try and help build your immunity. The more things that you do to help build your immunity, you're building up the energy and the strength of these white blood cells to be able to go take out those cells that have been invaded by this virus. So the war goes on. As your white blood cells kill those virus-infected cells, it leaves debris like dead cells and pus. And so what happens is those dead cells and pus can form pneumonia. And so that is how people get pneumonia as a result of having this virus. And when that war happens in your lungs, what ends up happening is that in your lower air passageway, there are small little air sac cells, what we call alveoli. These are small, tiny cells that are responsible for the exchange of CO2, which is carbon dioxide, and oxygen. The way that your blood becomes what we call oxygenated, we talked about every cell in your body needs oxygen to survive. And just bear with me here. I know I'm doing a lot of scientific terminology, but I'm trying to express and trying to kind of explain how it works so that hopefully that'll help you guys to understand why it is we're encouraging you to do some of the things that we're encouraging you to do that will actually help you. So in this little tiny air sac cell, the alveoli, there's an exchange wherein oxygen comes on board the red blood cell and the carbon dioxide leaves out. That's the point. Your lungs are a way for carbon dioxide to leave. So if this mechanism or relationship is compromised as a result of this immune system war that's going on between this virus infected cell and your healthy frontline white blood cells that are trying to wipe out this infection, sometimes there's a decrease in the mechanism of exchange of that oxygen. So that can cause you to have issues with having all the blood in your body oxygenated properly, or having your red blood cells carrying oxygen. The job of the red blood cell, one of its jobs, is to carry oxygen to all the cells in your body, and all the cells in your body need oxygen to live. So that's kind of how the pneumonia sets up. So a lot of things that are important. So I'm explaining that so that you understand. If you have been exposed to someone who has COVID, or if you start having symptoms, important, if you start having trouble breathing, I just encourage you to get help right away and to not put it off. Because this is something there are several reports of patients that have been seen with COVID that there can sometimes be a quick or rapid transition from feeling okay to not feeling okay. I would just encourage you to reach out to your physician through a telemedicine visit, which is the primary way across the country that physicians are seeing patients right now, to determine whether or not you are someone that needs to be evaluated or you're someone that needs to be seen. I encourage you to do that. So in addition to that, I hope that will explain why we keep talking about avoiding touching your eyes, your nose, your mouth. That is the entryway point. That is the way that COVID-19 gets in. So if we kind of, control these other things, we can sometimes help decrease the likelihood or risk that you would get this virus. So just remember, if you're a contact wearer or someone that has to put your glasses on and off, you want to make sure that you're cleaning the ears of your glasses, the part that goes around your ear, so that you're making sure that in between you being out, at the gas station or at the grocery store or touching something that could have the virus on it, that you're cleaning those surfaces, because you're constantly putting your glasses back on. And definitely, if you're going to change your contacts, please make sure you wash your hands very well, and make sure you do the 20 seconds warm water and soap before you apply your contacts, because we definitely don't want that to be a source of entry. In addition to that, I would encourage you to continue to wear a cloth covering. When you go out, I would encourage you to still continue to social distance. Social distance is one of the biggest things that we can do that empower us. We can control that to decrease the likelihood of it spreading. If you're out and around other people, and let's just say they aren't practicing social distancing, no problem. Just step back and put that feet of distance in between you and that person, and you actually may be helping to remind them of how important it is. If someone else doesn't practice it, that doesn't mean that has to influence you. So I encourage you in that way. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, that's all we have to share today. We're having a special Facebook Live on Sunday. I'm having a couple of my colleagues, Dr. Janine Darby who was on earlier, I think. She is board certified. She is in Pennsylvania, but she's double board certified in family medicine as well as obesity medicine. And what we're going to be doing is talking about the return to normalcy. And what that looks like and some of the considerations that you guys may want to think about if you're out there and you're a mom or a dad, or even a teenager who's looking at school options and what's going to happen, whether or not, is this the way of our life that it's going to be? Or are we going to be virtually schooling forever? There are a lot of colleges that have put it out there. They're not holding any in-person classes for the rest of the year. So we're going to be talking about that. In addition to that, I have my colleague and sister, Dr. Monica, who's a board certified pediatrician, who's going to bring some great highlights to you guys who are parents out there wondering, dealing with all the anxiety and stress of schooling at home and some of those things. She's going to have some special consideration for you guys as well. So join us Sunday at 3 p.m. Central Standard Time, and we will share that with you. I hope that everyone's doing well. If you're watching this and this information is helpful for you, please definitely share it with other individuals. If you're not following me already, please do follow me on my Facebook page, facebook.com/Dr. Celeste MD. That's DoctorCelestemd, and that's on Facebook. In addition to that, I do have a telemedicine business. If you are in need of consultation, please feel free to book an appointment with me. The site is listed in the post. And other than that, ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you on Sunday. I hope that you guys are doing well. Let me make sure there are no questions. Thank you guys so much for coming on. Hi, Miss Black. And hey, Miss Wilson, thank you for joining. Hi, Ramika. Thanks so much for joining. And Dr. Monica, she's going to be with us Sunday, helping us out with our kids and what we should be doing, what we should be thinking. Thanks so much, Dr. Monica. And my aunt, Sandra Jala, is on from San Antonio, Texas. Thank you so much for joining, Auntie Jean. And let's see, Sarah Allison, thank you. And Dr. Lindy, she's our ER physician and fashionista from Indianapolis, who's joining us. She's an emergency medicine physician that is on the front lines. She's actually there now helping to treat people. So we lift you up in prayer, Dr. Lindy, and speak God's blessings and coverage over you right now. Hi, Katrina. Thank you so much for joining us. And Miss Kennard, you're very welcome anytime. And hi, Jocelyn. Thanks so much for joining. So that's all I had to share with you guys today. If you have any other questions, please feel free to leave them in the chat. And if you have questions, I encourage you to bring those on Sunday, because we did one of these a few weeks ago and it was pretty. We had pretty good results with it, and being able to help enlighten and share as much as we could with our communities on ways that you can help to decrease the spread of COVID, and how not to give into this spirit of fear and anxiety and feeling like you're not empowered. You are empowered. You actually have a lot that you can do to help your community. I need you. You need me. We need each other. We need all of us to do the right things to help get us through this pandemic. And I feel and I know in my heart that we can do it if we just all bond together and handle this. So we'll see you guys on Sunday. Have a good night.